In a small village nestled in the foothills of the mountains, there lived a wise master who was known throughout the land for his wisdom and teachings. One day, a young and eager disciple came to the master and asked him to teach him the secrets of the universe. The master smiled kindly at the young man and replied, "True wisdom comes not from seeking knowledge, but from looking within." The disciple was puzzled by the master's response and asked him to explain. The master led the young man outside and pointed to a small pond. "What do you see?" he asked. The disciple looked into the pond and saw his own reflection staring back at him. "I see myself," he replied. The master nodded and then threw a pebble into the pond, causing ripples to spread across the water's surface. "Now what do you see?" he asked. The disciple looked again and saw his reflection distorted by the ripples. "I see myself, but my image is distorted by the ripples," he replied. The master smiled and said, "The mind is like a pond. When it is calm and still, it reflects the truth of the world around us. But when it is disturbed by our thoughts and emotions, it distorts our perception of reality. True wisdom comes from learning to calm the mind and look within, so that we may see the world as it truly is." The disciple was amazed by the master's words and asked him to teach him how to calm his mind. The master led him to a small temple at the edge of the village and instructed him to sit in silence and meditate. For days the disciple sat in silence, struggling to calm his restless mind. But as time went on, he began to feel a sense of peace and clarity that he had never experienced before. With the help of the master, the disciple learned to look within and to trust in the wisdom of his own intuition. He learned that true wisdom cannot be found in books or lectures, but must be discovered through direct experience and inner reflection. As the disciple's understanding of the world grew, he began to share his wisdom with others. People from all over the land came to seek his teachings, and he became known as a wise and compassionate teacher in his own right. Years later, the disciple returned to the village where he had first met the master. He found the old man sitting by the pond, watching the ripples spread across the water's surface. The disciple approached the master and said, "Master, I have learned so much from you. But I have come to realize that the greatest wisdom I have gained is the knowledge that true wisdom comes from within." The master smiled and nodded. "Yes, my dear disciple. I knew that you would eventually come to this realization. For true wisdom cannot be taught, it can only be discovered within oneself." The disciple bowed to the master in gratitude and then walked away, feeling lighter and freer than he had ever felt before. He knew that he would continue to seek wisdom and understanding throughout his life, but he also knew that he had found the key to unlocking the truth that had been inside of him all along. In conclusion, the story of the master and the disciple who learned that true wisdom comes from within is a powerful reminder that the answers to life's greatest questions are not found in external sources, but within ourselves. It teaches us the importance of quieting our minds and trusting in our own intuition, and it reminds us that true wisdom is discovered through direct experience and inner reflection.